Hello to all my college football friends out there. Welcome to another segment of the Buckeye Vinny YouTube channel sports show. My friends, wow, what an SEC championship conference game it was last night with the Alabama Crimson Tide victorious, beating the Georgia Bulldogs 27-24 to take the SEC championship for 2023. My friends, when you stop and look at this game, you know, we're talking about two big heavyweights, two rich in tradition college football programs, and I'm just going to say it, two of the best coaches in college football, Nick Saban and Kirby Smart, once again going head to head against one another. And, you know, for starters, congratulations to the Alabama Crimson Tide. They are currently right now 12 wins, 1 loss. And the Georgia Bulldogs also 12 wins and 1 loss. And, you know, what's ironic is that, yes, it snapped the Dogs' 29-game win streak, and the last team to beat the Georgia Dogs was back in 2021. That's right. That was also in the SEC championship. Alabama, again, was the last team to knock off the Georgia Bulldogs. So, my friends, you know, when you had analyzed this game, I said going into this game that Georgia had to get their rushing attack going. Like I always said, a fair and balanced rushing attack leads to a very good passing attack. You got to keep that defense honest. Well, I will have to hand it to Alabama. They were able to neutralize the rushing attack of Georgia. We are talking about Kendall Milton, who's just been playing lights out for the past 5-6 weeks. Kendall Milton, only 13 carries, 42 yards. Yes, he did have 2 rushing touchdowns in that game. And Daijun Edwards, 10 carries for only 38 yards. My friends, when you do the math, that's only 80 yards for two of the best, if you ask me, splendid running backs in college football. And they were only able to amass just 80 yards combined. And, you know, it's one of those things that you have to give credit to Alabama's D-line. They definitely came to play. You know, when you stop and look at it, we're talking about a Georgia Bulldogs offense that nearly averaged 500 yards of total offense this whole season per game. And Alabama shut them down to just 321 yards of total offense. We are talking about a Georgia Bulldogs team that net yards only rushed for 78 yards rushing on the ground. On the flip side, we're talking about Alabama, who nearly averaged a little over than 400 yards of total offense throughout the year. They were only held to just 306 yards in total offense. And on the ground, Alabama, better than the Dogs were rushing. Alabama accumulated 114 yards rushing. But my friends, when I broke this game down, we are talking about a Georgia team that averaged 186 yards rushing prior to this SEC game against Alabama. 186 yards rushing, and they only netted 78 yards of rushing. So, you know, I really got to give a shout out to Alabama and Nick Saban, that defensive coordinator for the Tide, that they were able to neutralize the Georgia Bulldogs running attack. When you look over at Carson Beck, what more can you say? This young man is so consistent. 21 out of 29. That's good for 72%. 243 yards passing, not bad. The key was he threw 0 touchdowns in this game. Now, obviously, he didn't throw any interceptions, but once again, 0 touchdowns thrown. Brock Bowers led the Dogs with 5 receptions, but for only about 55 yards. So, my friends, it's one of those games that the Georgia Bulldogs, a team that averaged 40 points a game, could only muster 24 points in this game. And at halftime, Georgia was down by 10, 17-7. I think the killer in this is when Alabama scored that touchdown right before half, because it was only a 3-point game, to put them up by 10 points. And it just seemed at that point all the momentum swayed towards Alabama. Now, the second half, Georgia's offense definitely did get moving. Second half, Georgia outscored Alabama 17-10. But my friends, it just wasn't good enough for the Dogs to overcome that deficit in the first half. And once again, Georgia loses 27-24. Stats for Alabama: Milroe, he played a good game, didn't play a great game. Milroe was 13 out of 23, 192 yards passing, but he threw 2 touchdown passes in that game. So, it was one of those deals that when Milroe needed to make the certain play to keep drives alive in the second half, he did just that. And I'm just going to say this. This game reminded me so much of my Buckeyes, where they lost to the team up north 30-24, a very similar game. We all remember when the Buckeyes were making that second half comeback in the fourth quarter, and they needed to stop Michigan and get the ball back. They couldn't do it. Michigan ended up wasting time off the clock and won the game. That was the same feeling I ended up getting last night when I watched this game, that when Georgia desperately needed to stop Milroe, and a couple times it was 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, and Alabama was able to convert and keep that drive alive and keep the clock winding down. And like I said, it's hard to score points when you can't get the football back. And that's exactly what happened, My friends out there, I thought it was a very good, hard-fought game on both sides. Two heavyweights just, blow for blow, uppercut for uppercut. And it's just one of those games that Alabama was able to pull the game out 27-24. It's one of those seasons that Georgia has nothing to be ashamed about. We're talking about a Georgia Bulldogs team, back-to-back college national championships, 2021 and 2022. We're talking about a Georgia Bulldogs team that was 24-0 in SEC conference play in the last 3 years. We're talking about a Dogs team that had a tremendous 29-game win streak, and I'm all about streaks in sports. It was a phenomenal run, but unfortunately that run had to come to an end. But once again, nothing to be ashamed about. Now, when you look at Coach Kirby Smart's resume, his resume against Alabama, and obviously his career record against Nick Saban, only 1 win and now 5 losses against his old coach, Nick Saban. It was one of those games, and I told you in the beginning of the season that Alabama and Coach Saban's been coaching with a little chip on his shoulder the whole year, and Alabama's been playing with a little chip on their shoulder the whole year. Now, we're talking about a Bama team that, yes, they have lost 1 game on the year, and that was to the Texas Longhorns, 34-24 in Tuscaloosa. So, we're talking about an Alabama team that easily could have ran the gauntlet and easily went undefeated, but they did not. Texas went into Tuscaloosa and knocked off Alabama by 10 points. So, it's one of those things. We'll see how the college football committee of judges see how they will feel about the top 4 strongest college football teams in the country. You know, you got to remember, just because a team is undefeated, does that make that team one of the best teams in college football? It makes you wonder, makes you scratch your head, okay? You know, yes, that certain team is undefeated, sure. But what kind of resume did they have, okay? Did they have an easy schedule? It's going to be one of those years we shall see. And we all remember in 2021 year when Alabama beat Georgia in the SEC championship 41-24 and stopped Alabama's undefeated season. Stopped Georgia's undefeated season. Alabama ended up meeting just a week later Georgia for the national championship, and we all know what happened there. The Georgia Bulldogs captured that national championship in 2021, beating Alabama 33-18. So, you know, it's going to be very interesting how this all officially plays out and how, once again, the College Football Committee sees it. We shall see. My friends, I just want to throw a heartfelt to all my Georgia Bulldogs friends out there. Like you did for me when my Buckeyes lost to the team up north. And all of you commented, sorry for your loss, Buckeye Vinny. You played hard, you fought hard, you hung in there, you're a great team. Well, guess what? All my Georgia Bulldogs friends out there, same back at you. You're a great team, a great football program, a very hard-fought game. Like I said, bottom line, make no excuses. You just ran out of time. And I know how that feels because that happened to my Buckeyes, like I mentioned, just a couple weeks ago against the team up north. So I understand right now where you're at. It doesn't feel good, not at all. But, you know, life goes on. But we shall see how everything plays out. I'm hoping that Georgia gets a second life and will be able to qualify for the top 4 teams in the 2023 college football playoffs. My friends, if you are new to my channel, I please ask you, smash that subscribe button and welcome to the Buckeye Vinny YouTube channel Sports Show. If you like this video, which I hope you do, even though my dog friends out there lost, hang in there. Please smash the like button. And like always, please comment down below. I would love to read your comments right now. Again, it was a great run. How many teams can say in their last 47 games that the Georgia Bulldogs are 45-2? Nobody could say that right now. Like always, peace out. God bless. Keep the faith. Buckeye Vinny's out of here.